Now we're going to do a news item about rebuilding Lahaina. Now they were rebuilding the houses, but now it's time to work on Lahaina, the town. Let's watch.
All new tonight, a breakthrough on Front Street. Our Daryl Huff tells us how Maui County is clearing the way to start rebuilding Lahaina's iconic shoreline. For 2 years, Maui County has been focused on rebuilding residential neighborhoods. Front Street owners accepted that, but now it's their turn, and they and county leaders want to bring back both the buildings and the magic of Lahaina Town.
This is Front Street. This is what the building looks like.
Veteran architect Glenn Mason has several clients whose buildings along the core block of Front Street were destroyed. He put in the first rebuilding permit application for what was called the gallery building, but it's been kicked back by county planners for months over whether Front Street would have to be widened to the new county standard, 60 feet.
Front Street worked. Front Street was amazing, but it was relatively narrow. And that's one of the reasons why the road widening has been such a big deal. But there's a certain intimacy to that. And so there was a lot of interaction between pedestrians and the storefronts, which I think really helped.
The magic of Lahaina is that it evolved over many, many decades, and the contributions of the many generations that built out stores and theaters and all different uses along Front Street, Aaron
Wade and John Smith have been leading Maui's recovery and planning efforts and say it was a huge challenge to recreate old Lahaina under modern codes.
Where we are right now in the process is people want their town back, but people can't get their town back if we just follow the exact rules we have on the book.
Just last week, the county announced Front Street will not be widened. Big news to the business owners.
I think the county's finally getting a grip on this. I wish it hadn't taken this long.
At a community open house last week, the county revealed design standards that recreate the small-scale buildings, narrow roads, and shaded sidewalks, all exceptions from current codes, but a roadmap for Hawaii's most famous roadway.
I guess super satisfying to realize that what the businesses want, pretty much we can get there, and we can still be resilient, and we can still be safe.
The architect says the owners are ready.
There's a lot of feeling about Lahaina, and it's not necessarily just about money. It's about bringing the town back.
One thing all agreed did not work in Lahaina was traffic, but a comprehensive parking and traffic flow plan is still in the works so owners can focus on their buildings. Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Ooh, what do you think about rebuilding Lahaina? Huh? So let's go to the stream alive, and I created this little deal here. Let's see if this works one more time. Okay, Lahaina rebuild style. What do you think? Should they go old style with narrow roads, old style with wide roads, modern style with wide roads, mall style with a walking priority? A lot of people said just make it a big mall or a promenade with no roads. In other words, just design it so that all people can do there is walk, okay? So type A, B, C, D, or E in the chat, and let's see if it works. Ooh, there's Darlene says old style with narrow roads, and now we have a wide road vote. Namaste Zen says A, spaghetti. Turtle A, F, mid-century Scandinavian. You know, I was going to do mid-century Scandinavian, and I just didn't have the room. No comment. Thank you so much for including that. I know. And NoCal Awesome Sauce. You would, NoCal Awesome Sauce, so you would type E, okay? Because there, and look at that. Didn't have to tell him, and boom, there he was with his lupine mohawk. Make it a promenade. People, by the way, say they should do that to Waikiki. Now, there's a lot of traffic, vehicular traffic that needs to deliver things, but they could do that in the back. I don't know. You've seen when they've closed the roads in Waikiki, it's actually cooler, and people love it. I know. And C. Honda is saying hi to Aloha Lupine. And Keone is a fan of old style with the narrow roads. I think that's where I'm at with that too. I kind of like that. But then again, for those of us who grew up with it like that, we don't want to see it change too much. But, it would be impossible to go back to that exact thing again, right? And Kenny Roberts, who lives on Maui, is about old style with wide roads, spoken like a true biker, because when 90 of us come through there on our hogs, in any case, they should have good parking areas, right? Now is the time, right? They're having a little reboot so they can really take a new look at it, right? But so far, old style with narrow roads and old style with wide roads are neck in neck. Oop, wait a minute. Old style with narrow roads just jumped ahead. I know. And Darlene S. says it will take in consideration the old style for what the people and businesses want and make it more walking too. Yeah, I know. I think that's what they should do, right? Yeah. And Devin says, aloha, Eric S. How's it? There we go. Okay. What? Oh, man, the chat is going crazy. A horse and buggy. You know what? I don't know if you ever saw this, Stephen, but in downtown Honolulu, a lot of the buildings have these big rings set up on the sides of the stores and such, and everybody goes, "What's those rings for?" They were originally there to tie up horses. And if you go through downtown Honolulu today, you'll see those rings on certain of the old buildings. How cool is that? I know. Whoo, exactamo. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Those places were largely plotted before motor vehicles. Exactly. And not only that, they kind of pieced the growth together, sort of like Honolulu. They didn't plan out the whole city. One part grew, then another part grew, then another, and they kind of made it work. Now they got a chance to reboot Lahaina and make it exceptionally cool. I think so. There we go. Okay, so it looks like old style with narrow roads wins with 40%. In other words, make them back how was. That's how, brown cow. Okay, right on. There we go. Lahaina will send this into their planning department and say the Hamajang gang has spoken. Here's how we like you do them, okay? So do them like that, all right? And now we're going to take a look at a little drop and then a music video. You know what? There's this delay here because...
Okay, you're here with Loner Music, Island of Molokai, and I'm here with Dolly. And if you need a ride after you had too much to drink, the kind, you give us a call, we get you home, okay? Me and Dolly. The other day I was at Keone Car Wash. Got my car done, so we're all good. And hey, what that auntie doing? Okay, so if you need a ride, give us on call. The Molokai Uber Dolly, okay? And also, we're only doing downhill now. Yeah, because a couple days ago, I was trying to get Auntie uphill, and I lost control of Dolly, and Auntie ended up all the way in the stream. So I saved the Dolly, but they caught Auntie before she went into the ocean. So give us a call. You hear? Molokai Dolly, Uber Dolly. And you're listening to the Daily Pigeon with Andy Bumatai. Okay? Will.
You are correct, Eric S. Those are the townhouses behind Roosevelt High School, which I guess would be Makiki, right? Just like Namaste Zen said. Yep. If you pass, Roosevelt High School, it's on the right. Then you take a right. Right behind there is where I went to shoot that. So, and also, Nani Aloha was wondering where this is, and that video was the one that inspired Medium 7 Up to do his Hamajang Gang melody. melody, a medley that we play here every once in a while. So that was the inspiration. And that's why, Darlene S., it sounds like what the one Medium 7 Up did there.